you should understand that everything you do involves risk. But the truth is, getting the business started is just really the first step.
Starting a business is an expensive hobby.
Most people don't have a good relationship with money.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand money.
And sometimes these mistakes can be really expensive.
Try and don't be afraid to be different.
But I think money can be also a tool to help people. If you could sit down with every founder and give them one piece of advice, what would it be? Hello and welcome back to Founders Tell Us, where we uncover the stories and lessons behind successful founders and entrepreneurs. Today's guest is Bobby Wang, founder and CEO of Lumeric Trading. Bobby is a futures trader, entrepreneur, and educator with over a decade of experience managing risk, capital, and decision-making in both business and financial markets. Born in Taiwan and raised across Canada and the United States, he holds a degree in psychology, a master's in finance, and has even returned as an alumni lecturer in the university. Having built businesses across multiple industries and led investment strategies professionally, Bobby brings a unique perspective on one topic every founder struggles with: money. In today's conversation, we will discuss how founders should think about cash flow, investing, financial discipline, and making smarter decisions with their capital as they grow their businesses. Bobby, welcome to Founders Tell Us.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to do a podcast with you today.
That was quite the introduction. I hope I can live up to that.
Well, I mean, this is your credential, so I'm really happy that you are in this podcast today with us.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to share stuff about money and business with you.
I'm sure the viewers have a lot to learn from you because I have known you for the past few months, and I feel like you are a good kind of tutor to actually show your information and show your knowledge to the world, and I would love for you to share with us today. So I have a few questions that I've prepared beforehand, and let's get things rolling. So before Lumeric Trading, you own businesses in hospitality and retail, and I was curious, what attracted you to entrepreneurship in the first place?
Well, my first business was in distribution, and then I had a business in hospitality. Which one do you want to know more about?
I think you can share about hospitality first.
Hospitality? Then, sure. What got me into hospitality was because I like being with people, right? Like I like the face value with people. I like to be in a business where I get to interact with people. And hospitality, that was the one industry that you can't avoid human contact. Right. So I enjoy it. I love it. I got into it. I had a beer and wine shop in Long Beach, California. It came with a restaurant and a retail area for off-property sales. We also do a light volume of distribution from that location as well. So that was pretty much it.
And that's what got you started in entrepreneurship, and you just get into the business, and that's how things flow.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. We found the location. I moved to California in 2012, went to downtown, found a really nice building. It was for lease. It was in a historical building called the Walker's Building. And it was beautiful. And I walked by the place and I say, hey, you know what? This place would be the perfect location to have such a venue. At the time, Long Beach is the second largest city in Southern California, besides Los Angeles. But it has changed quite a bit in the past, I would say, since the 2000s. It used to be a city with a mixed reputation, but in the recent past 10 to 15 years, it has really came to a different light.
I see. Well, I mean, when you started a business at a young age, well, now you are more than 30 plus. So looking back, what was the most expensive mistake that you made as a young entrepreneur?
Well, money, capital management. When you start a business, you have all these dreams and hopes and vision, and you want your business to be a certain way. The reality of things is that it's never going to be the way you want it. And if you think you can plan out the events of a business from the very get-go, from the very start, then you are setting yourself for failure. You have to prepare enough capital and enough money to sustain you for the duration of your first year to second year, third year, to figure things out. Okay. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of young or a lot of first-time entrepreneurs make, is that they think getting into a business, they only need the amount of money to get the business rolling, to get the business started. But the truth is, getting the business started is just really the first step. Okay. So if you have $100,000, you shouldn't really go into a business that requires you 100,000 or even 80,000 to start.
Yeah.
Because you are setting yourself for failure. You don't have room, you don't have a buffer for emergencies. You don't have room to adapt changes. You don't have money to make the necessary correction as you progress. And that's one fatal mistake you see very, very often in the hospitality business or in businesses across the board.
I see. Yeah. Let's say when an entrepreneur decides to start his own business, how much of runway do you think a entrepreneur should have, or emergency savings he should have in his bank account before he starts a business?
Well, there really isn't it's a paradox question, right? The question itself is a paradox because a lot of people want to get into business, okay? And they're going to get into the business because they're eager to get into the business. So the moment they feel they're ready, they wanted to pull the trigger, right? So say, for example, if I want to go into a restaurant business, it's going to cost me, the build out is going to cost me 120,000, for instance. Then the moment I have 120,000, I'm eager to pull that trigger. Of course, the more money you have, the better chance you have in surviving. So if you have 180,000 and it gives you 60,000 runway, okay, or if it gives you 60,000 buffer or whatever, okay, then this 60,000 could potentially buy you an extra 6 months. Do you need the extra 6 months? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I have seen businesses that are in the greens first month, right?
Yeah.
If you're opening out a McDonald's, you really don't need more than whatever they ask you for. The $1 million franchise fee plus the build out, maybe another 20 grand cash, you're good to go. Because this is a McDonald's. You're going to be in the greens from day one. But if you're opening up your own brand, a brand that nobody knows about, in a location that's not the best because you don't have the money to be in a prime location.
Yeah.
So in this instance, you will need more money than say you're opening a well-reputed franchise in a prime location. So there really isn't a number of how much more money do you need or how much money do you need for a certain type of business. It really depends on what type of business you're running, where you're running this business, what is your experience in this business. But obviously, if you really want to say for a rule of thumb, I would say if the build out is 120,000 or just to get you started is the 120,000, then you should prepare yourself $250,000.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I learned from starting a business myself, as well as what you said, $250,000 is kind of like to safeguard you for future possible obstacles that might come along your way. Is there like possible, like maybe a 6 months or 12 months runway that you will recommend? Or is there a reason why you said $250,000 if your startup capital is 120K?
Because, how about this? Let's put it this way. Don't think of it like it's a formula. Like I need X amount and then my runway will be 2x, and then, so on and so forth. This is not algebra.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to look at it in a more dynamic way. Enter the business as cheap as possible and as quickly as possible. And learn the real lessons as quickly as possible.
Because I think starting a business is an expensive hobby for sure.
Well, if it doesn't make money, then it's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah, for sure.
The famous words of Dave Ramsey. He's a radio host in the US. And he always says, a business that doesn't make money is an expensive hobby.
It is, yeah. And for the entrepreneurs out there to prevent themselves from making such an expensive mistake, what would you recommend for young entrepreneurs to consider before starting a business?
Don't do it. No, I'm serious. Don't do it. Like, not saying don't do it forever, but when you want to do something, especially it really depends on what you mean by young, right? Like I feel young, you feel young, right? We're still young. But if you're talking about someone who's in their 20s, straight right off school, my best recommendation in this case is whatever idea you have, whatever urge you have to move forward, stop, pause.
Yeah.
Right. Talk to people first. Watch. And save. Save your money, save your capital, save your resources, save your human resources, right?
Yeah.
Because most likely, say you don't have enough money, so you're raising money from your dad and mom. If you fail, your dad and mom's not going to give you money the next time, right?
Yeah.
So you also wanted to make sure you utilize your human resources correctly, right? If you have one rich uncle, you can probably go to your rich uncle for once, not twice.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my best advice for a lot of younger people in their 20s, to really just stop first, right?
Yeah.
They are like an electric car. If you have driven an electric car, you know, like if you press on the pedal, it just goes, right? Mm-hmm. So you really need to control yourself a little bit. Young people have a lot of enthusiasm in them. They have a lot of dreams and hopes and energy in them. And as we grow older, reality really slaps us around the face and pulls us down and tells us like, hey, you know what? Slow down. This is not going to work. And that's sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You don't want to get slapped around too much and you give up on your dreams and hopes. But you should understand that everything you do involves risk.
Yes.
And time is in your favor. Time is your best friend.
Yeah.
So in Spanish, we say aproveche. Take advantage. Take advantage of time.
Yeah.
And slow down.
I think we had that conversation before, like before anyone wants to start a business, maybe go out there to really see how is the world operating like. And I think you gave valuable advice to me once. Before you start a business, maybe learn from a mentor. Learn from someone who have walked through the road, who have experience, and the mentor is able to give you advice so that you don't repeat their mistakes. And sometimes these mistakes can be really expensive.
You're not going to have enough time to learn all your mistakes through all your lessons through mistakes. Yeah, of course. I mean, there are several ways to learn something, right? You can learn it from someone, you can learn it from reading, you can learn it from your mistakes. Which of those lessons are the best, in your opinion?
I think the best lesson would be from someone who have already walked the road, someone who is able to give you real life advice on the things you can do and what you should not do. But you're in your 30s. That's the reason why you're saying that. Yeah. My children would never agree with you, right? If I tell them something, they're going to be like, Papa, I don't want to listen to you.
I'm going to go and make my own mistakes and I'm going to learn from those, right? If I tell my 12-year-old, don't do this because you're going to, whatever, like, start your homework now because if not, you're not going to be able to finish it by the weekends. She's not going to listen to me. She's going to be like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night, Sunday night comes around. She doesn't have her homework done. Then she learns from her own mistake. Young people love to learn from their own mistakes.
Yeah.
It doesn't reflect them being arrogant, or it doesn't reflect them being, they're just young. They believe that they learn best from their own mistakes. But again, this is another paradox. Learning from your own mistake is the slowest and the least efficient way to learn.
Yeah.
You spend 5 years building a business, then it fails. Then you say, well, I learned a lesson. And the cost of that lesson is money and 5 years of your time, of your life.
Yeah.
That's an expensive lesson. That's an expensive lesson in no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
So when you grow older and older, you realize very clearly the best way to learn, because time is limited. I don't have, how many 5 years do I have to learn all the lessons I need to in a business? I don't. And how many books can I read? I mean, if you read more than 20 books a year, you're reading more books than 95% of the people. Just 20 books alone.
Yeah.
So how many books can you read to have enough knowledge to make the good decisions?
Mm-hmm.
So between reading or among reading and learning from your own mistakes and learning from someone else, the most effective and the cheapest way to learn is from someone with experience. It's like you're sucking all that 30,
Energy
40 years of experience.
Yeah.
And, they concise that into like a little pill for you to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. That is the smartest and most effective and most efficient way for you to grow.
I agree. I think if you want to gain new skills, new knowledge, you should follow someone who have experience in the industry already, so that they are able to show you the ropes in that. And but at the same time, I do think that reading books is able to help you grow your knowledge as well. And coming from finance industry, I think that you have read so many books in your life. What would you say is your top 3 books about money that you will recommend to entrepreneurs?
I have read easily over 100 books in finance related books. Okay. There are some books that I would recommend. There are a lot of good books, a lot of good books, a lot of crap books, but a lot of good books. There are books that I would recommend, and for different reasons. If you are someone who is more of academia, okay, or someone who is in the academic sector, there are different types of book that you would read. For instance, I was doing a lot of research, so I read a lot of textbooks, like books that contain a lot of good information, but it's a little bit dry and it takes time to read. Okay, but there are also books that are for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, and there are several very, very popular books out there. I'll give you 2 books that I can think of on top of my head that are really good. Number 1 is Psychology of Money. This is a book that everyone should read. It's a great book. Okay, it's I think it's a bestseller. It shows you most people don't have a good relationship with money.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand money. They see money as a token for them to buy things. But that's the most superficial level of looking at it. That's the most basic way of looking at money. The other book that I would recommend is called Die with Zero. It's a great book. It's a very, very great book. Yes. I tell everybody about this book.
Yeah.
Because it changes your philosophy of wealth. The premise of the book is You, as a human, you are born with nothing. And you will die with nothing.
Yeah.
You won't be able to take your wealth to your God. You won't be able to take whatever you make in this lifetime beyond your grave. So the logical thing to do is to be born with nothing and to pass or to die with nothing. And I'm not saying that you should spend all your money in stupid things and luxurious things right before you die. That's not the point of the book. The point of the book is to show you how do you maximize what money can do for you in your very finite lifetime. And you can get the maximum amount of pleasure, security, meaning of life.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think money is a resource and we can use money for different purposes. We can help it in our business, we can use it to invest in ourselves. But I think money can be also a tool to help people. What's your view on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Money can help people. People need money. But I think people need more help on just understanding money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just want to share something with you. How I see a few millionaires or even billionaires use money as a tool to help people is they have their own foundation, which I think it's a very meaningful cause, because sometimes I feel like I feel like there are some people, very talented people, very talented, very educated people out there who does not have access to higher knowledge or opportunities because due to the lack of money. So with a foundation, with a benefactor, having access to these resources will help them to unlock these opportunities to help the greater mankind. And what I mean, for example, is maybe if there is a cancer research foundation, what if someone from probably Africa or from the third world country does not have the access to a certain knowledge or maybe a research lab to research more about cancer cells? But what if the way to unlock more cancer research is stuck in this guy's mind, but he doesn't have the opportunity to? So having this foundation is actually a good way to benefit this kind of people to gain greater knowledge in that. And that's how I admire millionaires and billionaires who are using their money in these aspects.
That's an interesting topic. In my opinion, I think there are good foundations and there are foundations that are set up for the wrong reasons. Okay. It is not a secret that a lot of foundations are set up for tax purposes. Okay. They are not necessarily there to enrich humanity. They are there to serve the purpose of the founder of the foundation for whatever reason that is. Okay. And I'm not going to go into the details of that. If you're interested in that topic,
that will be for another episode.
Yeah, that will be another episode itself. And there are plenty of videos on YouTube or on the internet that you can look up.
Yeah.
And it reveals the dark side of foundations.
Yeah.
Right. But of course there are good ones. At least ones that were set up in the right with the right intention. However, that leads to the second question. I'm a very pragmatic person, right? So I break down things. The second part of the challenge is, even if the founder set up the foundation with all the right intention, is it being run efficiently?
Yeah.
A lot of foundations are not being run efficiently. they're not using their resources in the right way. I'll give you an example, right? Obviously, this has nothing to do with cancer or anything, but I'll give you an example of how when things that are intended for the best reasons go wrong.
Okay.
Okay, I have a good buddy of mine who lives in Dominican Republic, and next to Dominican Republic is Haiti. Okay, and Haiti is a very poor country. 20 years ago, no, maybe not 20 years ago, 15 years ago, or more or less, there was an earthquake that affected the country very badly. Mm-hmm. And at the time, many NGOs, many nonprofit organizations gathered products from all these big corporations for donation to the people who were affected by the earthquake.
Yeah.
And this included Nike and Hollister's. Okay. And Nike donated, I believe, I don't have the exact number. I don't know the exact number, but let's just say 1 million pair of shoes. And Hollister donated 1 million pieces of shirt or polo, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So what had happened? These products reach the country. The people received these shirts and shoes for free, but they took them across the border to Dominican Republic
Yeah.
and sell them for a profit. Because they are genuine Nike products and genuine Hollister shirts.
Yeah.
They could make money out of that.
Yeah.
So this is an example of how a good intention can sometimes lead to poor results.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, yes, humans, we are all a collective of a race, right? This is the human race, especially now we're in the age of space exploration. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll find another race that looks completely different than us, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think humans in general, like as you know, if you have a pair of eyes and a mouth and you look kind of like the Homo sapien looking, and you walk on your two legs, your feet, you're a human, and humans should see each other as a collective of one.
Yeah.
We're all together. We're all trying to do the same thing for each other. Right.
Yeah.
But people sometimes have the wrong intentions.
Yeah.
And even if they have good intentions, the execution is a major challenge. So to circle back to the point of your question, do you think money helps people? Yes, I do think money helps people. But if you use money to help people in the wrong way, you can do more harm than good.
Yeah. For sure, yeah.
It doesn't give them. So this is a complicated issue, right? If someone's hungry and you give them $50 and say, hey, here you go buy something to eat. What message are you sending to this guy?
He can use the $50 for anything.
He can use the $50 for anything? Well, let's just say he is hungry and he's going to use it for food. Yeah. But what message are you sending this guy?
That he can get money anytime from anyone and he don't have to work for money to get his food.
Exactly. I just need to ask.
Yeah.
You are reinforcing a bad behavior.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. I need help. Could you help me, please? Oh, $50.
Sometimes you
I
really
hope I
have
don't get
to-
canceled for saying this crap, but like this is very psychologically true though.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the context. At the same time, it really depends on the context of the reason why the person is asking for $50, and I think there are different reasons out there, and maybe there might be some limitations that he is unable to earn that $50 easily, and he need to satisfy his hunger like pretty quickly, or else he will starve to death. But that is a very specific context that we are talking about over here. So it really depends on the context, I feel.
I agree. I agree 100%. There are people who do need help.
Yeah.
But I would argue that majority of people who are asking for help can help themselves. I'm not saying everybody can. I'm not saying everybody who needs help can help themselves.
Yeah.
But I would argue, again, majority, over 50% of people who are asking for help can help themselves.
Wow, okay. Circling back to founders' finances, why do you think so many founders are so good in making money but bad at managing it?
Why so many founders are good at making money but bad at managing it? Give me an example of a founder that is very good at making money and bad at managing it.
I think at the end of the day, it boils down to the relationship with money. So, for example, a founder, maybe he have found a blue ocean and he managed to find a particular product that is able to sell very well on e-commerce, and he managed to earn a lot of money from the e-commerce sales. But just because his income have doubled, he is also going to double his lifestyle spend. So he's going to maybe rent or even buy a more fancier apartment. He's going to get a flashier car. He's going to spend more money. He's going to get nice watches and everything. Is there a reason why there are some founders that have this issue? I think it could be rooted from their relationships with money from the start. When they are young, maybe they might not have any financial literacy when it comes to that. So, or maybe they might not have access to so much money when they were at a younger age. Now that they have grown older and they found a money maker, they are unable to kind of train their mind to manage money or wealth in a way that can help them to grow their money even further. So in some cases, I think a lot of founders actually fall into this pit hole of just because that their income have doubled, it means that they will want to double their lifestyle and expenses as well.
Well, I agree with you. However, I think it's more prevalent. You see this more common beyond just business founders, right? Actually, as a matter of fact, I think this is less common in founders, because a lot of founders, there are two types of founders. There are founders who they came from nothing, and there are founders who came from something, right? Some people their parents are entrepreneurs when they came from money and they want to build something in their own names and for themselves, so they became founders themselves and they are very successful. And there are founders who are from absolutely nothing and they want to prove themselves, and to become a better person, right? So, but again, I think this phenomenon is less common in the business world, but it is very common what you are describing in, say, for example, like professional athletes, right? Or certain people who all of a sudden get a very, very good job, or they all of a sudden hit the jackpot, right? So this is, of course, this is bad. Because why is it bad? Like it's kind of like, I'll give you an analogy. I'll tell you. Okay, so we'll put this on the side. And I'll tell you a little story, and then we'll come back to this. Okay. So I went to school for psychology, and I remember there was a research that I read about, and at the time I was very keen on working in the public health sector. So I wanted to do something with substance abuse or something to help people. So I took a class in substance abuse. And and I remember very clearly, my professor was explaining why certain drugs are more dangerous than others. All right. So there are two things that you have to keep in mind when it comes to addiction. How fast do you feel the effect, and how strong the effect is. Okay. So if you feel the effect very, very quickly, and if the effect is very, very strong, then you have the two factors that will lead to addiction. Okay. So if you put it in a chart, let's say on the x-axis, we have time. Okay. And then on the y-axis, we have potency.
Yeah.
Then you will find, for instance, cocaine or heroin on the very top of the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
It takes very, very little amount of time for them to be activated, and they are very, very potent. They make you feel, they change your mood very, very quickly, and they change how you feel very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So these drugs are considered most addictive. And how come people are not addicted to ibuprofen? Because ibuprofen has a delay. It doesn't work right away. It takes up to 15, 20 minutes before you feel the effect.
Yeah.
And the effect of ibuprofen is not as strong and as obvious as, say, morphine or other painkillers.
Yeah.
So therefore, ibuprofen is less addictive. This is how we measure addiction.
Yeah.
So circling back to the question you asked me earlier, when someone experiences something, a change, so great.
The dopamine hits.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the science behind it,
Yeah.
right? The dopamine, all that, right? So if someone experiences something so quickly and so great, they lose their mind. They're unable to comprehend and unable to process that. So wealth is always best to be built slowly, right?
Yeah.
Than to be hit all of the same time. So that's one school of thoughts, right? So the other school of thought is that there's an American expression called keeping up with the Jones, right? Your neighbor has a new Mercedes. Oh, I should get a new Mercedes. Your neighbor is taking that expensive vacation in Europe. Oh, I should do the same.
Yeah.
Or else I don't feel like I fit in. So it propels upward very, very quickly.
It does. Yeah.
People don't think about this. People don't think about that because people think, well, if I have money, the first thing I want to do is, well, nobody's going to be, most people, I'm not saying everybody, but most people are not going to be like, oh, I'm making 3x, 5x, 10x than what I used to. So, bottle service and start blowing my money away like a sailor.
Yeah.
Most people don't think like that. Most people elevate their living environment first. If you're living in a middle income neighborhood, the first thing you do when you have money is to move
To a gated community.
exactly to a nicer environment. Okay? And in their mind, they think it's a smart thing to do because obviously less crime, safer, and you have a better living environment, it's more convenient, and you're buying a property. And most likely I hope in this case you're buying, not renting. But let's just say if you are buying a property, it's an asset investment. What could possibly go wrong? Well, once you move to the gated community, then you have your neighbors who are driving the Mercedes, the BMWs, the Porsche. And all of a sudden, your 2016 Toyota doesn't fit in.
Yeah.
And probably the reason why you made it to the place you are today is because you're not blowing money on cars. It's because you have been driving your 2016 Toyota.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, these things starts to compound.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta get a decent car. Oh, well, I gotta give my family a decent vacation. Oh, all of the kids in this community are going to that private school, international school, whatever it is. I gotta get my kids there.
Yeah.
Right? That's an 18-year commitment. Or if, a lot of these international schools starts at 1 year old and they go all the way to 18-year-olds, right? So if you put your 1 year old, 2 year old in these schools, that's an 18-year commitment.
Yeah.
Right? You're signing an 18-year contract because you don't want to pull the kid out. All his friends, all her friends are there. It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
So now you're setting up yourself for less and less cash flow. But in your mind, somehow you're justifying that. I'm doing this for my family. Oh, this is a smart investment. So not necessarily people are blowing their money away
Yeah.
in dumb, ridiculous crap.
Sometimes they do have good intentions.
A lot of people have good intentions.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if you're a founder in your case, if you're a founder and you made it, chances are you're a smart person.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are you are a smart individual. You're an intelligent individual. But like what we were talking about earlier, even with all the best intentions, if the execution is incorrect, you're still going to end up with poor results.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it boils down to mindset and comparison. And I feel like this phenomenon is exacerbated by social media and also with the environment that you are surrounding yourself with. So let's say if you are in Dubai, where you often see flashy cars and nice apartments and everything, it kind of make you feel like you have to have that as well to show a certain lifestyle.
I think younger people are more vulnerable
For sure.
than older people.
Yeah.
But older people make their fair share of dumb mistakes too.
They do, and they still do even when they're old.
Right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
social media plays a big part influencing the younger people under 30. But for instance, when I was telling you about keeping up with the Joneses, that expression has been around for 40, 50 years. Since the 70s, 80s. I don't know when it started, but way before internet was a thing, right? Yeah. So that effect has always been around. We are an average of our environment.
Yeah.
We are an average of the people we surround ourselves with.
I agree with that.
So if you surround yourselves with people with flashy things, nice lifestyles,
it makes you want to get those things as well.
You either become one of them or you're going to feel excluded. And since we're humans, we don't like to be excluded,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So either you find yourself a new group of friends, or you're going to stay there long enough to see yourself become one of them.
Yeah. I think for some individuals, when they try to achieve that kind of image, some of them might even fall to debt because they try to keep up with the lifestyle. So I would like to know, what is your view on debt? When is it smart and when is it dangerous?
Consumer debt in general is never a good thing. If you're financing to buy that MacBook, if you're financing to buy a TV, you're financing to buy anything that depreciates, it is absolutely a mistake. Not just a mistake, it's a dumb mistake.
What kind of decisions when it comes to taking debt is smart?
When the thing that you're purchasing appreciates, then it's justifiable.
Yeah.
But again, it's not always black and white.
Yeah, for sure. Because there are some things that are tangible and there are some things that are intangible.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Like
So,
your education.
yeah. I feel like investing in yourself in education is always one of the best investment that you can do for yourself.
I agree. And I disagree.
Because there's good kind of education and then there's also bad kind of education out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Education in general is never always good or always bad.
I agree. Yeah.
Going to college for I'm not gonna say a study that maybe it's
Controversial.
maybe you're gonna get canceled for, but let's just say if you go to school for studying how to make podcasts,
Yeah.
okay, you graduated with a bachelor's in podcast. I don't know if that exists, but maybe you will one day. How useful is your degree? As a matter of fact, I think that's actually a pretty useful degree because this
Podcast
is
is up and coming.
This is the upcoming industry. So I take that back. That's actually a very good, maybe not very good, but that's actually not
Let's
the best
just
example.
assume that there is a study that is not benefiting.
Yeah. Let's just say like we study. I'm Taiwanese, so I'm just gonna make fun of my own culture. Let's say you went to school for studying Taiwanese history.
Okay.
Good luck finding a job.
It's relatively more challenging than other kind of study for sure, because there is a very specific.
What are you gonna do
Knowledge.
with that? Work in the National Museum in Taipei? Like I mean, your job, your career path is so narrow. We should be opening our roads. Whatever investment you make, that investment should open you to more opportunities, not less. If you're making an investment and that investment makes you feel like you have all of a sudden less opportunities and less options, then that's a bad investment. If I go to school to become a deep sea mineral miner, and I invested $100,000 to become a deep sea mineral miner. Before my investment, I have the opportunity to become anything I want. Now I invested $100,000 to become a deep sea mineral miner. My opportunities all of a sudden closes up. Now I'm in a tunnel vision. I can only be a deep sea mineral miner.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good investment?
It just limits your choice out there.
It limits your choice. It limits your opportunities. And it depends. I mean, if you're already in the industry, if you're already in the mining industry, if you're already you came from a generation of deep sea treasure hunters, and your father and you have been doing this since you're a 5-year-old, and you have a great interest and you know this industry really well, and you're like, I know where in the bottom of the ocean, there's minerals, and I'm going to have my own company, and we're going to start drilling, and we're going to provide for the new rockets, whatever SpaceX needs, we're going to find it in the bottom of the ocean, and that's going to be a huge thing in the future. Go for it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that, if you just an 18-year-old and you're watching YouTube and you're like, oh, deep sea mineral mining. Oh, that sounds interesting. I want to go do that. Ridiculous. You're closing all the doors,
Yeah.
all the possibilities, and you're just keeping one door open for yourself.
Yeah. With a limited choice.
And you're paying to do that. You're paying money to do that.
Well, Bobby, I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
And we can keep the answers to maybe less than 10 words.
Sure.
So, biggest money mistake founders make?
Spend too much.
One financial metric every founder should track.
One financial metrics every founder should track. Spending.
How many months of runway should a startup have?
Depends on the industry, but at least a year.
Best investment you have ever made?
The time I spent with my family.
Worst investment you have ever made?
The worst investment I have ever made, buying Bitcoin.
One book every founder should read about money.
One book that every founder should read about money. You shouldn't be just reading one book. You should be reading a lot of books.
If you only have one book.
If you only have one book.
Yeah.
How about this? Instead of giving you a book, I'll give you a direction. Read a book about the person you want to become.
Agree. So we are almost at the end of the podcast, and I always ask every guest a closing question that can help founders out there. So the last question that I have for you is, if you could sit down with every founder and give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Try. Try everything. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to try. You're always going to have problems. You're always going to have challenges. And if you keep doing the same thing, you're never going to find a different result. You're never going to have a different result. You're never going to find a different solution. So try. Try and don't be afraid to be different, and don't be afraid to change. And eventually, you'll get there.
And what is your view on try and don't be afraid to fail? Because I think that there's never a failure, but always just a lesson learned. And what's your view on that?
A lesson learned when you're 20-year-old is valuable. A lesson learned when you're a 70-year-old is meaningless.
Yeah.
Learn quickly. Learn quickly, cheaply, and try to learn those lessons fast. And don't make the same mistakes again.
That's a very good advice for the founders out there. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Bobby. I really appreciate your advice and your insightful experience.
It's my pleasure to be here.
It was very nice talking to you. Thank you so much.